Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. We're here, Parshas Boy. Very exciting Parsha. Yitzis Mitzrayim. The Jewish people, the Mitzrayim, are redeemed from Egypt. This week's Parsha, we have the last three Makos. We have the Makah of Arba, and then Choshech, and finally, on the night of the Seder, the first Seder, Makas B'Chorus. The very interesting pasuk in this week's Parsha, when they talk about the Korban Pesach, the first Korban Pesach that was brought in Mitzrayim. So the pasuk here, in describing the halachos of the Korban Pesach, the pasuk says something very interesting. It says if there's a convert, a ger, when a ger joins the Jewish people, Basa Pesach, and he brings the Korban Pesach, La Hashem, Himolo kol zachar, he has to have a bris milah first, which is part of the gerus process, if it's a man. Va'az yikrov, and then he brings the Korban Pesach, la'asoiso v'ayake ezra ha'aretz. He should be like the citizens of the Jewish people. Rashi here says an amazing thing. He says that it really makes it sound like from the pasuk that any convert that decides to join the Jewish people, when he converts, must bring a Korban Pesach immediately. There's at least a thought that maybe that's what the pasuk means. And on that, Rashi, quoting Chazal, teach us that no, a convert does not have to bring the Korban Pesach immediately upon conversion. Rather, ke'ezrach ha'aretz, rather he's like a regular citizen, just like everybody else. The rest of the Jewish people only need to bring the Korban Pesach when Pesach comes. Obviously, Be'ez Hashem, we should be zocheh to do this in the base of Migdash b'mehera b'yameinu, maybe this year, Be'ez Hashem. But just like a regular Jew, an ezrach, a citizen of Judaism, brings the Korban Pesach only on Erev Pesach, so that they can eat it on the night of the Seder, so too a ger also only brings it on that day. But it sounds like from the pasuk that he would actually have to bring it right away. Why? Why would we even have a thought like that? Well, I do believe that the reason is because a ger, when he joins the Jewish people, is actually just like when the Jewish people, when the Jewish nation itself was created. And that really happened on that night, the night of Makas B'Chorus, the night that Hashem redeemed his people. What happened on that night? And the night of Makas B'Chorus, Chazal teach us that not only did HaKadosh Baruch Hu take vengeance on the nation, the Egyptian nation, but he also took vengeance on their gods as well. All of the gods of Mitzrayim were destroyed on that night, except for one that was left over to fool the Egyptians into chasing after the Jewish people into the Yam Suf. There was one avodah zarah left, as we see later on in next week's Parsha, in Parshas Beshalach, that was left right by the Yam, so that the Egyptians would think, oh, that God, the Jews' God, doesn't have power over that one of our gods, and therefore I give them strength in order to chase after the Jewish people to their end in the sea, in the Yam Suf. But besides for that, all the other avodah zarah, all those avodah zarah in Mitzrayim were wiped out. They were wiped out on the same night that the B'Chorus were wiped out. So too, all of the avodah zarahs. But the truth of the matter is that there was one avodah zarah that Hashem did not wipe out, and that was the sheep. The Egyptians, they worshipped animals, they worshipped the sheep. And Hashem said to Klal Yisrael, you're going to be my nation, then you need to grab onto mitzvahs. You need to do my will, and you have to separate yourself from avodah zarah. So first, bris milah. Bris milah means we're making a connection with each other, a bris. We're connecting to each other, a covenant. But after that, after you've made the bris, now you need to separate yourself from the avodah zarah. Take that sheep and shecht it, and bring it as a korban to me. And that shows me that you're connected to me. You're not connected to the avodah zarah anymore. It's very interesting because the zodiac, the mazal of Chodesh Nisan, of the month of Nisan, is the sheep. Because in Mitzrayim, That was a massive avodah zarah. So in the month of the sheep, we're taking their avodah zarah and we're showing the avodah zarah of theirs is nothing. And we're using it. We're shechting it, and we're showing Hashem we're connected to you. A ger, you would say, has to do the same thing. He's leaving his nation, and he's now joining the Jewish people. So we can think, oh, wait a second. He needs to do the same thing that the Jewish people did. The Jewish people gave up their avodah zarahs in order to cling to Hashem. The ger needs to do the same thing. He needs to give up all of his avodah zarahs and cling to Hashem. So therefore, there's a thought to say, hey, wait a second. Just like the Jewish people, when they became the Jewish people, they gave up their avodah zarahs. They shechted their avodah zarahs for Hashem. So to a ger is now joining the Jewish people. He needs to shecht the avodah zarahs. And that's why there's a thought to say, yes, the moment he becomes a ger, he has to give up his avodah zarah, and he has to bring the Korban Pesach. Kamash Malah, no, the pasuk is teaching us, once you're a Jew, you're like everybody else. But that's the reason for the thought, because really, in order to truly cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I think this is really the main lesson we can learn from here, we're not gerim. We're already Jews. And even a ger does not have to bring a Korban Pesach until Be'ez Hashem when we have the Beis HaMikdash. And on Erev Pesach. But the gerus doesn't need it. But what we do need to do is sometimes we need to make sacrifices. And we have to give up our own personal, small little avodah zarahs, the things that are taking us away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the things that are distracting us, the things that we don't even realize that sometimes we may treat them like avodah zarah. We get obsessed with them. They're such a huge part of our lives, and unfortunately, we get disconnected from Hashem. We have to show Hashem, no, I'm giving those things up. It might be hard. It was hard for the Jewish people also. They were so steeped in avodah zarah in Mitzrayim as well. But we're going to need to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the only way to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Asay Tov and the Sur Meirah. Let's go. Let's connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's do his mitzvahs, but let's separate from all those things that are pulling us away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All those things that we're obsessed with, all those things that are wasting our time. And then we'll truly be able to be clinging to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that will give us the best possible life. We'll be reawakened, and we'll cling to the Ribbono Shel Olam. Have a good Shabbos.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Eli Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.